Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with a very special guest. He's still alive. He's still alive. He's cheated death once again. Every time you come on, you get a little bit closer.
Back in the can for number 3 with some more exciting stories of the Chenzo.
Yes. Oh, you can lean back. You can lean back if you want a little bit. Yeah, that's good. So, last time Vince came on, I think, actually, no, was it the first time or the last time you came on where your parachute fucking twisted up?
Yeah, so that was on the last one. So I was just starting the skydive journey of wingsuiting. So the road to wingsuit base jumping. So started off in the new big suit. Was just trying to work some things out. Those big suits have big burbles behind and had one of those big line twist malfunctions that I showed you on the last one. In the scheme of things, it's not a big deal when you're working it out because you've got that reserve parachute. But yeah, that was the last one that you went, what are you doing? And for people who don't follow the sport or know what happens, that looks pretty intense for them to see that. So just working that stuff out and got that under control. And then as life has it in this sport, sometimes you're running a bit of some hurdles, some problems, and here we are on the next one. Let's have a little bit of a yarn about it today, hey?
So I haven't seen the actual incident, so I thought I'd play it live. He sent me the video and I wanted to play it live so we can all watch it together and he can go through it with us. So I'll bring it up on the screen.
I'll tell you what happened first.
Oh yeah, tell us what happened first.
So we're back in the can today to have a little bit of a yarn. So I've just had a bit of an incident up in Darwin recently. So usually every 2 years they run one of the biggest boogies that they have around Australia, which is called Rail Week, which is up in Bachelor in Darwin. Been very excited to get back to Darwin for a long time. So they had one that was kind of supposed to be through the COVID time and shit got a little bit too chaotic and they had to bail that back. So we haven't had a rail week for quite a long time. I think it's probably realistically maybe 6 years since the last one. And I'd been to that one and I've been to the one 2 years before. So they have this pro landing area out the back of Darwin, which is super awesome, but it's also very game on. Last time I was there, I had a bigger parachute and I was doing a way smaller turn. So for all these years I've had in my head, I said, I can't wait till Darwin opens up again when I'm on a faster parachute, a bigger turn, and I can just nail that landing out into the pro area out the back. So I've dreamed about this forever. Finally got there. We had a couple of days of jumping, just trying to work stuff out. And then on, it was day 4 of the boogie, but I'd only done 3 days of jumping. Got a little bit distracted on one of the jumps with one of the other jumper with me. A couple of little, like, what we call cheese holes in the skydive biz, where I just didn't have my turn quite dialed in. It was a very tight landing area. I was very distracted. It was midday by this time where the winds were kind of shifting and switching around a little bit. So usually we land into wind to slow that parachute up a little bit. And this just goes to show how one small little mistake, probably like 45 seconds before my landing, snowballed into a bigger problem, and I ended up overshooting the landing area, using the whole landing area up before I could land, and then pretty high speed come to the end of the landing area, which had a fence at the end, wire fence, and yeah, I made that fence my friend, so I got impacted into that fence going full speed. Smacked it in pretty hard. For a second there, I was quite winded and wasn't super sure of maybe the injuries or what I'd sustained at the time. Once I started to get my breath back and once I could get when I was pretty winded, got back, I was like, oh, I might be okay. And then once all the boys got to me there, they pulled me out from kind of under the fence a bit, and I could see my femur wobbling as they pulled me out from under the fence. So realised then that I'd done myself a bit of a mischief.
Yeah, right. So we're going to watch the video now. And I haven't seen this yet, so I can't. I'm excited to see it.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like,
for sure.
It sounds fucking chaotic.
I've kind of just edited this a little bit shorter, so you don't see any of kind of the aftermath of after the fence, because like that makes it look a little bit kind of
gruesome.
Bit gruesome. Or it's just me just like not having a good time. So
yeah.
This video you can kind of hear the bone break.
Oh,
you see my leg kind of wobble in a direction that it shouldn't have, and then
We'll chuck it on up for everyone to see. All right, let's have a look at this. Oh. 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 At what point? Oh, fuck. You're so lucky that it was a wire fence.
Yeah, it felt like a brick wall, dude. I'll tell you what, like...
At what point did you know you were fucked?
Pretty much soon as that spiral stopped and I start that recovery arc, I knew I was in trouble. I didn't know it was going to be to that point. What should happen, I was pretty distracted by my friend that I was jumping with at the same time. Usually I'd let him go first. He's on a smaller parachute, which usually means he has right away. Just how the jump ended afterwards, I was a little bit lower. I was closer to the landing area, so I kind of just rushed my process to...
Oh, you can kind of hear it. Shout out to whatever camera you're using for not breaking too.
Yeah, the GoPro. So as I'd like started to rush, so to get ready, we call it maintenance. So I'm getting myself comfortable in my harness. I'm loosening my chest strap. There's a slider above my head, which I need to remove, take off, put in my pocket. So there's a little bit of what we call maintenance that I need to get going. So I'm trying to rush that process because usually I'd let my mate Jamie go first, but on this one I was lower, so I had right away. So I was just like, I'll get down quicker to try and get out of his way. But he's on such a small parachute that he just caught up to me so quickly during that process. And I just wasn't set up what we call deep enough. So at the start of that video, I should be way further to the right over those gum trees. So I had a longer time to go through that process. So as I'm kind of rushing through that process, I was kind of aiming to go a little bit deeper and then start my turn. Because it's such a big turn, usually I can change the speed or the pitch or whatever to try and adjust for where I am in the sky. But as you see at the start, I look up and see that he's about to start to turn. That distracts me a bit and I stop flying away from going a little bit deeper. Start that turn. Because in Darwin, you're doing that big turn over those gum trees. Usually that last minute before I would kind of do my flick, I would face the other way for a little bit longer, which would give me a little bit more time and room. Because those gum trees are there, the picture in my head was like, nah, you need to do that turn right now. Otherwise, you know, you could be what we call in the corner. And that big arc where you see me starting to come out, you need to do that so much further away that you come between those like palm trees over that building quite low. So you've still got enough time to slide in across the grass. So pretty much by the time I come out of that whip, I was like, oh, this is really like not in a great spot. But pretty much about halfway through the grass section that you can see, from then I knew I was in big trouble. So I was instantly in my head, I was trying to look for what we call outs, a different direction to go. Do I go left? Do I go right? There's trees and caravans and shit to the right. I thought that this is all, you know, split decision kind of making in the moment, which is pretty hard to do. I thought if I can, as soon as I get my feet on the ground, I can dig my heels into the ground, flare as much as possible, and hopefully pull myself up with a bit of speed to, you know, make this not super of an issue. The ground out there is so hard. The grass is like, you know, pool table felt. So you just slide across the top of it. I couldn't get any traction. My thought pattern as I was coming in, I said, once I'd seen the fences, I was like, if I lift my legs up to the fence, I might get some play in the fence or whatever. Should be able to take some of the impact. Couldn't see that pretty much I hit right next to a star dropper, you know, which is kind of, you know, holding in together. Just kind of felt like there was zero play off the fence, which there wasn't because, you know, it was star dropper to the ground then. Felt like a brick wall. Just knew it was drama straight away. So
so it was your femur bone on your left or right?
So my left femur snapped clean in half. Looks like a spearhead.
Yeah.
I'm very lucky that I managed to stay in my leg. Once that gets that compound and comes out, you're looking at a whole new set of problems, you know, as well from infection and that sort of stuff. So I'm lucky that stayed in.
Yeah.
And then my right ankle, between my two kind of ankle bones in the center of there, had a couple of breaks. So I got a couple of screws in there. I've got a new titanium femur nail, which they go through the hip, drill through the femur, and send this nail down the center of your femur bone, and it's bolted in above my knee, bolted into my hip.
That's fucked.
So I got a new bit of hardware everywhere. So,
is that like the closest? Is that the first time you were like, oh, I might fucking die?
Nah, not at all. Like,
you just knew you were going to get severely hurt.
Yeah, well, I honestly, like, it was pretty unlucky for that amount of damage, kind of. Like, I can't, I don't know in the process, like, what was going to cop from that, but everyone that's seen the footage is like, oh, pretty bad injuries for what it kind of, for the hit, but as unfortunate as it was, no, it was like this. It's not a thing where everyone's like, oh, look, you almost died, you survived it. It wasn't. It was a fuck up from me from not doing that deep, and unfortunately in this game, small fuck ups can lead to big injuries. But like, I'm very lucky that I didn't go like kind of through the fence or whatever. I'm glad it didn't. Cheese grated me, didn't open me up in places. As much as those injuries suck, I am kind of 8 weeks post that crash now. Had to stay in Darwin hospital for 2 weeks because the ankle was so severely smashed and swollen. So I had to lay in hospital for almost 2 weeks before they could go and get into surgery for the ankle. So the femur's at 8 weeks and the ankle's at 6 weeks. Femur's super strong now. I'm able to kind of stand, weight bear. Yesterday I was pretty little personal tick for myself where I was able to like stand up in my gym and do some kind of body half weighted squats on it a little bit and a couple of steps around, and then another week or two when that ankle kind of builds that cartilage up nice away, I'll be able to start taking a few steps and move from wheelchair to crutches, because kind of just spent the last 6 weeks at home just being full wheelchair bound. So I've learnt some cool new tricks and been on some cool adventures and stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, and that and shout out to everyone who fucking donated and helped out. That went fucking bunter.
Went bunter, man. Went bunter straight away, man. I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful to my friends, my community. And this is the thing about this sport, like, it's not like, I don't know, I know like footy players and stuff all have their little boys and stuff, but the thing about the skydive community is you're doing all these jumps and base jumping where you're so in tune and so connected to all these people that you jump with. Everyone knows what we're doing, the risks and stuff that we're taking on it and stuff, and it's a real close family, like you hug your friends before jumps and stuff. It's one sport where you like tell each other how much you mean to each other all the time and stuff. And I've spent a long time. I've been in the sport for just over 12 years now, and a lot of jumps. So there's like 4,000 jumps, and then sometimes this is the price you kind of pay sometimes. But when everyone just reached out and just called me, the people that have just rocked up, donated, bring me fresh bread or produce or meals and stuff, it's been out of control, dude. I'm very grateful that I've got such a good network around me.
And this does not deter you whatsoever.
Not at all,
from skydiving.
I'm so keen to get back, dude.
It's fucking crazy to me. I was saying to him in the car, I was like, I'm glad it happened after I went skydiving. I would never have went. It's fucking terrifying.
I would have never told you if that was the case.
It's one of those sports though. It's like, fuck it. The further you kind of push the limit, like, not saying that was pushing the limit, that was just like a lapse of judgment or like a lapse of concentration for a split second. But like these cunts that are like pushing the limit in these kind of sports, eventually they're going to find it. And that's probably why like it's such a small community and people are so intertwined in each other's lives, because not many cunts are out there doing it, especially like base jumping and wingsuiting and free soloing.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I find this, like, the difference between this was just like I said, lapse in judgment, a bit of a problem, but it was like, it wasn't like I hit the ground and like fall in that arc and just like, it was like a major, I don't know, it wasn't like a major like bounce where I was just like, that could have like been potential for a lot more injuries and stuff. Like, I don't know, man, like, if I had like another 5 more meters, 10 more meters, like in that landing area, I probably could have parked it up and this wouldn't have been a problem. It was just like another second flying a little bit deeper before I started that turn, like, couldn't have been a problem. So for a second where I was like beating myself up a little bit, I was like, no one likes to, have problems or make mistakes and be super open about it. But in the skydive world, this is why like we're talking about it, is because someone can learn from it, someone can see the little problems. But yeah, like in base, if you like make a big mistake where it's like you will have a fatal problem from this, you know, like this is not me like nearly dying. This is just a small mistake with a big outcome, unfortunately.
But with base jumping, like small mistakes result in fatality.
For sure.
So with base jumping, you have to be perfect every time, or as close to.
As close to, you just like, you know, these small fuck ups in the base and environment can lead to big outcomes, for sure. Just like so much smaller margin, you know, because not many people die when they're under their parachutes with the landing, you know, because they're big parachutes, small landing areas, you know. But while you're in that free fall, in skydiving, we're jumping from 15,000 feet. We're opening up by 4,000 feet. There's nothing to hit up there apart from friends or whatever the people that you're jumping with. But in the base, you know, you could be potentially flying past cliffs, rocks. You're jumping so low. It's so small amount of time. You're opening so low. Like
yeah, the free fall's like 2-3 seconds sometimes, isn't it?
It could be down to a second. It could be up to a minute. Just depends what kind of jump that you're doing, you know. But like I said this last time, I think skydiving and base are two very different kind of sports that share a lot of similarities.
Well, don't let this deter you. I highly recommend going tandem skydiving.
Yeah, for sure.
I genuinely do. I reckon it's definitely one of the best ways you can spend like that amount of money. It's not that expensive, but
no.
It's one of the best experiences, and it does feel very safe tandem.
Yeah, like I say, like the difference between this is like I'm a sports parachute. I'm only responsible for myself. The tandem parachutes are like, you know, 360 square feet. Well, the parachute I'm flying here in this crash is 90 square feet, you know, so tiny little small parachutes with high speed, making a very large maneuver turn. So that's like completely different to tandem. So tandem is very safe.
Well, you're alive.
Well, we're alive.
You're alive.
Cheers, brother.
You're alive. I'm just going to quickly pause it to close. Oh, there's a fucking thing open out there and it keeps slamming and I shit in my pants.
A little puppy dog.
Yeah. All right. But yes, as I said, we are back. As I said before, I wouldn't let this story deter you from actual tandem skydiving. Like you said, it's like these could almost be two totally separate sports.
Absolutely, yeah.
Tandem's like, it feels... I remember you telling me, you're like, it feels very controlled. And it does, from start to finish. Like I said when we were on the way here, the most terrifying thing is the plane ride.
For sure.
But it's because if you're not used to those fucking tiny little piece of shit planes, they're fucking horrible.
It's a long time for you to think. That's what it is, you know. We go like 25 minutes up to height, and the whole way you go through this range of emotions. You're like a little bit nervous and scared, and then you get through the process, you're all geared up, you're like, oh, this is kind of fun. This is awesome. We're all vibing. You're vibing off me as the instructor, and because I have a daytime job and I do tandems on the weekend, that doesn't seem like a job for me at all. I'm having the sickest time. I get to take the mostly beautiful people for their first experience, and they're so grateful when they land from the jump, and they all just give me big hugs and stuff. And so it's the best thing I've ever done. It's like, it's not very often you get to be a part of someone's most enjoyable day of probably their year, month, life for some people.
And shout out to fucking Brody for falling out of a plane for me and somehow still getting the clip.
Man, how he just held on to that plane and still managed to get the shot. Like, if he slipped off that plane, he would have never lived that down for absolutely ever, but then still managed to get the perfect shots from it. Shout out my boy Brody.
Do many people like fucking pass out?
No. Like, no? It happens. It does and has happened. I probably got over 2 and a bit thousand tandems now, and I've never experienced it. I've never had anyone. I've never had anyone throw up on me. I've never had anyone pass out on me and stuff, you know, but it does happen. It's probably, I don't know, I have a process I go through. I don't put them in through massive spirals. I don't put them out of their comfort zone. I'm very in tune with my passenger. The first thing I do when I go up to them, I give them a big smile, shake their hand. How you going on, Vince? How you doing today? And I can kind of work out how they're going to be through the process from that handshake, whether it's the sweaty, the nervous, or I can tell straight away. If they're a little bit nervous, I'll just give them a little bit more attention, you know, like tell them a little bit more how good the equipment is, tell them about the experience and stuff, have a bit more of a chat. And mostly by the time they're up in the plane, the ones that are nervous are smiling, they're having a good time. It's this roller coaster of emotions, like I said. So the happy, excited, the view's stunning when we go from Aldinga, you know, flying over the coast. You can see all the way down to Kangaroo Isle and everywhere. So that part of it, they're like, oh, this is the best. How good is this? Pilot gives us that 5-minute call. I'm like, all right, cool. It's time to get ready. So once I start strapping the harness on and clipping things up, that's when the heart rate goes up. That's when the stress starts to happen for them. But once that's all done, I've done my job, I've done my checks, then I go back to making the ones who need to feel comfortable, make them feel comfortable, you know? Hey, this is good. Like, we're all connected. 1, 2, 3, 4, show them the points. I'm like, try and get away from me. Show them that they can't get away. We are connected. I'm comfortable. I've done my checks. Everything's perfect. We're ready to go. And once that kind of happens, most just go, boom. All right, I'm in this. There's no getting out of it now, sort of thing. So once they've kind of made that mental decision that they're in for it, their persona changes, they're happy, and then they go through that process.
The Vines is sick because when you jump out of the plane, you get like this hit of fucking salt water smell.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if that's unique to there because it's so close to the coast, but when you jump, you get like this rush of like almost salt water, like that ocean beachy smell, and it's hell nice.
It's the sensors just absolutely firing, because when we leave the plane, I'll give this massive brief on what I need them to do.
Yeah.
But then soon as you leave the plane, I go into what we call like sensory overload, where there's just so much happening that 0 to 220 kilometers an hour acceleration just like overwhelms a lot of people's brains. And as long as they give me some sort of that arch, I can outfly most people. So as long as they give you some of it, once they kind of get out the plane, we go through that process. I give you that tap to let go of the harness. And a lot of people, as soon as I give them that tap, they go, oh yeah, I've got a job to do. That's their quick little reminder. Arms come out into the free fall position, get nice and comfy. And then most of them I can literally feel, once their arms come out, that body relax and that arch sort of start to happen, because they're not tense. They're not fighting against me trying to arch, because we're connected. Like anything I kind of do, they go through that process as well. So as I'm just like arching with them, pushing that forward, they kind of just loosen up a little bit, and then they go into the nice position.
Brody wingsuits and base jumps as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
He does?
Yep.
He just doesn't do tandems.
He just doesn't do tandems yet, so
You have to have X amount of jumps and shit.
you gotta be a very experienced skydiver to be able to take people for tandems. And he is lucky that he came in the right time with the right people and stuff, where we were all just starting that journey of the base, and we'd done a season or two ourselves. And this happens a lot of people who get into that base jumping environment. Once they get a taste of the base, skydiving can maybe seem like it's not fulfilling those adrenaline or feelings or that sort of stuff. And the thing is, you need to be, especially if you're an Australian base jumper, you need to dedicate so much time and money to pretty much going overseas every year or multiple times a year to stay current and do some jumps. And if you think about what, the price of multiple overseas holidays a year costs, and then we're jumping in places like Norway and Switzerland and stuff, where it's the most expensive places you can be. Just takes a lot of that time. So we tick off a lot of jumps when we get back here as well, but it's very weather dependent, cost dependent, plane availability. It's like over the last couple of years, it's hard to be a very good skydiver, just with costs going up and popularity and stuff. It's for the last couple of years, it's been hard to get a lot of light skydive numbers.
You'd almost need like a really good social media presence to make it like easier cash wise, eh?
Yeah,
or get picked up by like Red Bull or
to get picked up by Red Bull is like...
That's the ultimate.
Yeah, but it's like a 0.001% of people that are ever going to make that dream, unless you are...
The gnarliest cunt.
Well, the gnarliest, but even if, say you're from Adelaide, you're never going to have the access to that, because we don't have big, massive planes. We don't have massive drop zones. We don't have, can't jump all day, every day. We're a weekend drop zone sort of place. Australia's flat, so we don't have much to jump off and stuff. So if you
Is Norway and Sweden and those hell mountainous countries usually the best at it?
Yeah, for sure. Well, because they're mountainous people. They've grown up around it. It's normal for them around there, that sort of thing. So, it's Italy, it's Switzerland, it's Norway, it's France. There's a bit of stuff in America that people jump, but it's pretty low.
New Zealand?
Yeah, there is jumps in New Zealand for sure. Yeah,
New Zealand South Island's pretty fucking gnarly, isn't it?
Yeah, there is a lot. There is some jumps over there, but I think it's pretty limited, long hikes, that sort of stuff to get to there. And then I think you need to be reasonably experienced to be able to do a lot of the jumps. Again, I haven't been there yet. I would love to go there, but I think it's like not really a place that goes off massively for people to go there for trips, because I think Aussies go over there a little bit to go and experience it if they've got friends and stuff that are over there, like kind of pushing those jumps. For everyone in Oz, they just pretty much follow the same routine, which is start in Croatia. They got a bridge there. You learn on the bridge in case you have any like 180s or any problems, you can fly under the bridge. It takes one of the big risks away. Go to Italy because that's the first cliff jumps that everyone does at Brento, because it's like, 1,000-foot cliffs, a little bit overhung, so it's the most safest place for you to learn those first jumps. Again, if you have any problems, you've got more times to try and deal with that, so you either go that when you're new. And then Switzerland in Lauterbrunnen in this valley is just fucking Disneyland for base jumping. There's gondolas, there's trains, there's this beautiful Swiss mountains everywhere with just jumps absolutely everywhere that can go from...
Is that the picture you gave me? The picture of you skydiving?
That was in Italy, I reckon. Yeah, I reckon that was Italy.
It was... was it Snowy Mountains? I can't remember now. It's in my house. I didn't know Italy fucking was like that.
Yeah, Italy goes off. There's also got the main, like where there's Brento, there's a lot of jumps around there. So the town near is like Trento, and I can't quite locate where it is. But then they've also got a little bit further away, they've got like the Dolomites in Italy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no shit.
The Dolomites have some fucking sick jumps.
What's the one that not many, like you have to be a fucking real gnarly cunt to do?
They're everywhere. They're absolutely every place.
Do they go on gratings like climbing? Like climbing?
No, we don't have a grading system for it, but every location has harder jumps, and it also depends what kind of suit that you're wearing. So no suit we call slick, which you can do off that Brento, because you're not going to travel very far. But it's nice to learn how to fly your body before putting a suit on. Then you go to that two-piece tracking suit, which is kind of like the rain jacket.
Yeah.
That gets you like probably 5 times as far as maybe slick. And then you go to like a onesie, which is a one-piece, which is half wingsuit, half tracking suit. Then you can go to a wingsuit, and then you can go to bigger wingsuits. And every time you go in a bigger suit, it unlocks more levels.
Bigger suit, further distance?
Yeah, bigger suit, further distance, more glide ratio. So some jumps that you can't jump in, say...
Slower?
No, but it just like you've got more angle. So you can be like, you can fly flat, you can fly steep.
Yeah. And
if you need to fly away from stuff and stay up in the air, you have that chance to do that, So there's a lot of jumps you can't jump in a two-piece that you can in a onesie. There's a lot of jumps like you can jump in a wingsuit that you can't jump in a onesie. So the more experience you get, you can just unlock new levels and harder jumps that, even though it might be in the same place, you can't have access unless you're more experienced and more talented, have a bigger suit to potentially fly yourself out of problems.
Yeah, absolutely. Fuck all that noise, eh?
Fuck yeah, dude. Fuck yeah.
Fuck all that noise.
I love that noise.
My autistic flavour has taken me to like Red Bull Extreme Sports at the moment on YouTube. Yeah. Some of those cunts are fucked, dude. Like, legitimately, they're fucking psychopaths.
Well, they're just further down the path, like as you get more experience. And some of those dudes where like I've been skydiving for 12 years, starting to get good at skydiving. Some of these guys have been base jumping for 20 years. So they're just like, they're more aware, they're more experienced. They've got the best of the best suits. They're doing it for so long. And if you're making it through that process of being, in the sport for that long, it shows that you are making good decisions. You can always jump within your margin, what we call that, like some jumps where you're like, not sure if I'm going to be able to fly out at that bowl. It means you've got very little margin that you left yourself. But if you go on jumps where like, I know I can fly out of that bowl easily, and then I'm going to make it a little bit more difficult, that's how you slowly get better in base jumping. So you're like, we only ever sort of push ourselves at, like 70% most of the time. Because when you need that extra 30% when you need it, you need to have that in the bank to be able to pull yourself out of situations you might know your things. Because if you're just flying at 100% all the time, you're not going to make it.
Yeah, I remember here. There's a quote from like I think Alex Honnold said it. He's like, free soloing's like the most peaceful thing you can do, because if you're in a position where you're scared and worried, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Like, nothing should go wrong.
No.
Like, nothing should go wrong theoretically. So, like, while he's up there, it's really calm and peaceful, because the moment something you feel frantic, something's gone wrong. And free soloing, much like base jumping and wingsuiting, if something goes wrong, it's 99% of the time it'll probably be fatal.
Yeah, potentially.
You've never fucking been into climbing or anything, eh?
Not really.
Not even with parachuting, like parachuting the falls and shit.
A little bit, like, you know, Murray Ultra around here and stuff, and we've been to a little bit of indoor gyms, but not so much, man. I've just been so dedicated on spending all my time on the sky and the base, and I do gym, and I do massive hours at work throughout the week, and on weekends I'm exploring this, and have forever. I was just having a chat to my mate Teagues yesterday. He's been spending a bit of time doing a lot of scuba diving, and a lot of people from my drop zone are all going through the scuba diving life. Like at the moment, while we had some plane problems and stuff, and now there's a lot of crew doing scuba diving. And I said to him, I get these memories come up on my Facebook all the time. I was just like, me trying to collect people to do my skydive license. And it seems like over the last 12 years, every couple of years I make a post, all right, I'm going to go do scuba diving. Who wants to come with me? And then it never eventuates, because the time you want to go scuba diving, like, it's when the weather's super nice for jumping, or the Euro season, and you're like, oh, I need to save that coin, going to Europe in a month, and it's just never happened. And now this crew have all started scuba diving. I'm like, oh, I want to scuba dive.
I'd rather jump out of a plane without a fucking parachute than scuba dive. At least in the sky, there's no sharks, dude. Scuba diving is fucking retarded. Like, it scares the shit out of me. Like the deep ones.
Yeah.
They're just... do you know Donald Cerrone?
The name's familiar. He's
Donald
a fighter.
Cerrone he's retired now, but he's an MMA fighter. But he's like really into just really niche extreme sports. Like, he dabbles in everything. He's just like almost like a Travis Pastrana. He's just like a fucking maniac, but not to that level. But he was really into like real deep scuba diving, and he was on Joe Rogan. This was like 10 years ago.
Back when Joe Rogan was good.
Yes. And he was diving down there with a mate, I believe. And something happened, and he got into, like, down there it's pitch black almost, and he went into like this little cave tunnel thing, and he got tangled up and shit and got disorientated because he was so deep. Down looked the same as up, and left looked the same as right. Like, he didn't know where he was, and his oxygen was running out. He had like 5-10 minutes left, and he was like, oh, he in his head he was like, I can't even write my kids a note. I'm fucking in the water. He's like, I'm dead. He had to choose a direction to go, and he fucking chose the right one. He just blind faithed it, and he's like, it was the scariest moment of my life. But there'd be nothing worse than dying like 50 meters below sea level. Yeah, you're just fucked.
Well, you see so many docos and so many stories about that, and I chose the right direction. And I do strongly believe that if you choose to take risks and you choose to like go down that path, you get given this sort of, you know, like, if you're going to push your body, you take those risks. Sometimes you get those outcomes where you've got 4 directions to choose and you choose the right one. And I strongly believe that's because you were able to put yourself in that risk, push past that scared pattern, and then you got rewarded for that. Because people who don't take any risks, they don't evolve. They don't move forward. They don't do anything different. And I meet a lot of people like that. A lot of crew that I see from school or different places and stuff that are just like, oh, you're having a sick life all the time. I was like, yeah, but like, you've bought a house, you've got stability, you've got all those comfortable things that, for me, that's just spent all my money and travelled forever, don't have. And now I'm getting in my 30s, I'm like, oh, that kind of could be nice. That could be nice, you know, that sort of things. You hear freights like, oh, my house just went up 100 grand. I'm like, oh, sick. Yeah, oh, man, I'm going to come live in your basement. Because so, you know, you get that give and take. But I think, and forever, like, if I had a re-go, I would do things exactly the same. I would do things exactly the same. Take risks, get outside your comfort zone. You get rewarded. You get rewarded with happiness and stuff. And my life has been fucking so enjoyable. It's been so fun. And it goes to show, when I had this little stack, taking those risks and making such a huge friendship group all around the world and at different drop zones in place, and watching all that love come back and look after me when I'm in my time of need and while I needed it. that made me really go, oh, okay, cool. All right, a lot of this connections and stuff that I've made all around the world means so fucking much to me, and it means so much to other people. You know, I have friends that I haven't seen in a couple of years, like, you know, like send me $500. Fucking love you, dude. We had a sick time here, or you spent a weekend giving me some free coaching at this event or whatever, you know, like you showed me how to do all these things, and I remember that, and it made me a better skydiver. And I just like, here's my chance to do that little bit of a repayment. So like, there's a lot of people that I've spent a lot of time trying to coach and send love like the whole time around and stuff, and this is where it comes back.
Yeah, it comes back around.
Yeah,
you really find out who your fucking like mates are.
Yeah, for sure.
And how big your circle is when shit like that happens.
Yeah.
And it's also, like you were saying in the car, it's fucking nice to have, like, you're just going out and chilling and cutting your bonsai tree and just having a fucking recharge.
Yeah.
Like, it wouldn't be a blessing in disguise, but it probably does have its like benefits, because your life is so fucking go when you have your legs under you. He's in a fucking wheelchair, by the way. He wanted to sit on the seat. I was like, dude, you can just pull the wheelchair. I was like, no, I'm fucking sitting in the seat.
No, I'm sitting in the seat that I've been sitting in for the last 2 years, so hobble my way in. But I'm not far off. I'm not far off from ditching the wheelchair, thank God, because it's been a little bit of an adjustment for sure, but the house I live in is absolutely beautiful. I've got access everywhere and stuff. And
you got Brody whipping you up. I told him, I said, I want to go fucking break my femur bone, dude. I messaged him, I can't remember what it was, but he's been cooking your shit every day. And he posted like breakfast, lunch and dinner one day. And I was like, dude, I'll fucking go break my femur bone right now and I'll move into your house.
Do you know how many people are like, you got a spare room, can I move in and stuff? I was like, you're going to fight me for it? He can cook.
He can like legitimately cook. Not like fucking, he could go on like a show, like one of those like My Kitchen Rules.
Cooked cooking.
Cooked cooking.
Yeah, no, it's been sweet, man. Like fucking shout out, bros, man. Like it's nice to have a homie like that where we just moved in together before we went to this big Darwin event. He had a little bit of time off at work, so everything just lined up at the right time. And man, like, you know, I don't know what I would have done at the start if I didn't have him in my corner, been able to look out for me like that, man. So I appreciate him. I don't know how I'm going to repay him for this little situation, but just like the friendship, like we're in this shit together for a long time, and it's going to be good. We literally, like, I was in hospital, dude. Things just kept getting delayed because my ankle was so munted and swollen.
Did your ankle break worse than your femur? Like, obviously not pain-wise, but is that more fucked up than your femur bone was?
Yeah, it will be, yeah. So they said even from the start, even though since I went to the first physio, he's going to, like, as crazy as this sound is, we're going to try and spend all of our time and effort getting that femur leg stronger, because once that nail's in, it's pretty much kind of healed.
Well, it's just one bone rather than the fucking million bones in your ankle.
Yeah, it's not a million. There's a couple of little breaks and there's 2 screws in there just supporting it. But the fact is just like the ankles just can be a bastard, you know, just because there's a low blood flow, all that sort of area. And those screws in there didn't fix any of the trauma. They're just kind of holding it together, where that nail in the femur has fixed the break, like technically. So I'm glad I just didn't do the femur 20 years ago, you know, like there would be the difference between me fucking limping forever or, you know, being in a full half body cast or anything like that.
Yeah, because you would have been more stubborn with your rehab as well, probably.
For sure. And so get back to that Darwin thing. So because it was 2 weeks delayed and I stayed in there for so long, I was so sick of, like, I needed to leave that Darwin hospital because it was just very overwhelming, and yeah, you can imagine. Anyway, had to go. So I was like, once I kept delaying the surgery because my ankle was so swollen, they said we can't operate on the ankle until it goes down enough that we can at least stitch your ankle back together. So I waited for, I don't know, it ended up being, I don't know, like 13 days later in hospital till I finally got surgery on the ankle. I said, how long do I have to be in here after surgery? They said, we require you to be here for 48 hours after surgery before we'll give you a discharge note. So as soon as they said that, jumped online, booked a ticket home back to Adelaide, and we just booked a whole row, so like the 3 seats, and then so we just grab a wheelchair at the hospital, right? I mean, at the fucking airport. So there's just a wheelchair at the front, right next to where we pulled up. Sweet wheelchair, jump in that. We go do the full check-in. They asked for my medical certificates, proof of flight, all that sort of stuff, because I could see I was like kind of banged up, even though I was showing a bright face, just so I could just get on myself on that flight. Check myself in, cool, you got a wheelchair, oh, sweet, no worries. So we check in, get to the flight, and the literally lady helps me. She wheels me up to the plane, like before you go on the main door. And she looks at me, she's like, "You sweet to walk from here?" And I just looked at her and Brody. I was like, "Walk from here?" I was like, "I got 2 broken legs. Like, I can't walk from here." She's like, "Oh, you're in the wrong wheelchair if you can't walk." And I was like, "Apparently,
Is it a different wheelchair?
yeah. Apparently they have aisle wheelchairs that are nice and skinny that can get down the aisle." Oh, I didn't know that. They didn't tell me as we checked in. We didn't know that. So what they did, they put a ramp onto the plane. They wheel me into the plane to the start, and they're like, I was like, "All right, cool." So I'm only like 3 rows in. Thank God I was just at the start. So I just kind of like 2 broken legs, just like walked myself down the center of the aisle, just using the sort of like the shoulder rests or the arm rests, and just dragging my legs behind me. Managed to just walk myself 3s and plonk myself in the seat. Sat in the corner. Brody sat in the end, lifted my legs up, and he just pretty much almost cradled my legs like all the way back to Adelaide. And I just couldn't. I could never get comfortable because it was like, those seats are not designed to be sat sideways in. So I'd sit with my legs on him as he'd hold him for a while. I'd put him like halfway in the seat. I'd have to hang him down. And this thing is just like, I just never got comfortable. And it was just like every like 30 seconds I'd have to shuffle, I'd have to move, I'd have to try and get comfortable. So
Do you still you don't get like shooting pains or just
Not
more
really.
numbness and shit?
yeah, like the ankle I did pretty much to like the last 2 weeks. I would just get big pains that would just run down the side of the ankle. Where they did most of it, because I reckon they pretty would have had to butterfly that open from like this. How big the scars are quite wide on either side, so I reckon they would have had to fillet those open pretty well to get in behind and then bung the screws up in. So that's where all that problems comes from. And now I'm at 6 weeks ankle, where I should be starting to technically be able to weight bear. Looks like it's going to be probably another 2 weeks before I'll be weight bearing on that realistically, to let that come down. And then once that happens, it's game on, because that left femur is like so strong. And in another 2 weeks, like, I'll be cruising, dude.
Just straight to fucking serious rehab.
Yeah.
Just fucking physios. And yeah, like I said, I had a mate that when he was alive, he broke his femur and he just did not rehab it properly.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it, you do get that fucking limp. It's not like it just looks uncomfortable.
Yeah. And I can't have that. Like, I can't have that, dude.
It's the last thing you want to see when you're about to tandem.
Yeah. Well, it's more like I've got mounts I want to hike. I've got jumps I want to tick off. I've got
That's the
so
thing.
much to do there.
People like obviously think of skydiving as just skydiving, but I'm sure when you're base jumping and wingsuiting, you have to fucking hike some gnarly terrain.
Yeah. So the plan is like, I got handbraked. I was supposed to go to Booster Wings, which is the biggest like wingsuiting event in Australia. So I was going to tick that off soon. I was going to start a little bit of climbing in Morialta, because sometimes when you're going to these jumps, there's climbing sections that you have to be, competent in to get to there. It's not just like trail. Sometimes it is like rock climbing sections to get up to the next bit of trail. And everything's just been handbraked just a little bit. But I'm going to do rehab so well, and I have been eating such good food, the right supplements, everything I need to get myself back on the right way, because I can't have that limp. I can't have that ankle not working. It's just like it's a non-negotiable for me to get back like properly. So my thing is like trying to take my time, is because even when I was going to physio, I was just like, cool, like what else can I do? Well, I thought we were going to take some steps this week, and he pretty much tells me every 2 weeks, just go home, a little bit more rest, just, do some calf raises, just things, and just take it easy. So I've been having to listen to him just like, cool, take it easy, which is the right thing. So my problem is going to be overdoing it rather than just sitting at home and eating Cheetos and fucking watching too much TV series. It's like, I want to do more, and it's nice little reminder just to take my time and relax with it.
You'd have prescriptions for them good drugs, bro.
Oh, no, they didn't want to give me anything, dude. Like, there's such a handbrake on anything right now. Like, even in hospital, I'd get like a couple every couple of hours. I'd have to hit the bell and they come through. And because I was in there for so long, and ended up being like prison, like they'd come in with the 2 ladies. She's like, as soon as she'd walk in, I'd be like, Vince Jarvis, 17th of 3rd, 1991, and show them my prison ID, and they'd like, read my code name. And then when I got my ankle surgery done, they didn't put anything more on the prescription. So like I was in pain pretty bad for 2 days after the surgery. And when I left, they gave me 2 days worth to take from the hospital. They gave me 2 days worth, which, because I was like flight home and had to get home, used 2 days in pretty much a day just to kind of deal. got home, had to deal with it, had to get up, had to drive to Mount Barker to my GP because I've like lived in Barker and Meadows forever, to go visit him, to give me a prescription for like another week and a bit, and that's all they would give me. And after that, I was just like, fuck it, I'm not going back to get another one. I'll just deal with it, because it wasn't like it was overbearingly painful. It was painful, but it's not enough. And I don't know. I already spent 2 weeks in hospital, fucking, you know, getting pumped with everything. I was just like, want to clear the body out and just make myself feel a little bit more normal, a bit more human. So didn't give me not much really.
Yeah, right. That's a shame.
Yeah. yeah, there was no stockpile for once I felt healthy anyway, let's put it that way.
Yeah, you don't need them when you're sick. You need them when you're healthy. And you're sad.
Yeah.
But no, it is fucking good that you're up and running. I just hope this is the last. I hope this is the last podcast we have to talk about an injury.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
You're so lucky. That when I look at it, it isn't as violent. It's obviously violent because I know you. But it's not as like... It wasn't as bad in my... It was a lot worse in my head.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell it was just a slight error. If that fence was, like you said, 3 meters further, you would have been fucking sweet. You might have broke your foot.
Yeah,
maybe.
For sure. A couple of rolled ankles or whatever.
Couple of rolled ankles. Who was standing there? Like, because he looks like he was like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, he was. So he wasn't like on the jump I was doing, but he was obviously on the plane load. And he's like, fucking sick, swoop, dude. Because another thing is, like, man, once I come out of that turn, because I like was rushing everything and like really did that big excessive flick to try and get myself down, the turn was actual fucking sick, man. Like, we have these things called like ditters that go off when you're going through freefall, and my sirens were going off because my ditters thought I was still in freefall because that carve was coming in so fast, and my ditters are going off. I'm like, oh, I'm fucking rocking it here. Like, this is actually a good turn. If I was just a bit deeper, I would have used that whole landing area and I would have stood up and be like, yeah, that was sick. But like, yeah, it wasn't. But it was like, I just hit up one of my other boys, Mogo, and he's like, because they collect all the footage, they keep it all low key up there, you know, like no one needs to see it. Yeah. And even just showing it now, it's like, you know, should just be like, but out there. But as long as it's kind of a bit of a learning process and stuff, it's okay.
Yeah, if people use it to learn.
For
like,
sure.
I don't know who the fuck would want to see someone like just fucking there in agony.
No, for sure. And that's what we cut at the end off. But there's a couple of other angles that he's got a copy of that I'm going to see. So probably one of them could be his angle, me coming past and then doing that and shit.
It would be interesting to see from like another perspective how hard. I don't think you can grasp how hard you hit it from your angle. I think from that bloke's angle, you would be able to tell off. Like, that would be like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're like I said, you're lucky it was a mesh, like a wire fence, but you're almost, it could have been worse if you went through the cunt.
Yeah, for sure.
But I just quickly need to take a piss. I'm just going to pause. All right, we were just talking. Are you a beach guy?
Like, not a heap. I grew up in Victor Harbour, so...
You grew up in Victor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good with Victor. Well, I grew up on a farm out at Finnis, so for a long time. I was born in Strathalbyn. Bit of a farm in Strath, a bit of a farm in Finnis. Did a year of homeschooling in between sort of primary and high school.
You were homeschooled?
Only for 1 year, and I didn't do anything. It was just like kind of just on the farm kid, just learning life out in the land, you know, learning real life skills sort of thing, you know. Like my old boy would teach me about horticulture. My old boy and my mum planted over 40,000 trees.
What?
Up at this farm in Finnis. Bought it back like a pretty bare block. And that was mum and dad's sort of thing. He was very green thumb human being. Spent a lot of time. And when they moved up there, he propagated and seeded his own, and him and mum planted 40,000 trees. And there's photos of me as a very small child, you know, sitting there in my cot or whatever, just out there with like my sister and brother, very young, and mum and dad just planting trees all day. So,
do your sister and brother do like anything? You're the issue.
I'm the issue, yeah, for sure, absolutely, yeah.
Is your parents still alive?
My mum is.
Your mum is.
Old boy had a heart attack, I think 6 years ago now. So just out of randomly.
Your mum's pretty supportive of like what you do, eh?
She's very supportive because she knows how much joy and how much fun that I have, and she obviously gets to meet all my friends, and how good close relations we have and stuff, and the connections and the moving, you know, like mum's English and she come over like very young, 10-pound pom and stuff, and And she gets to see me from a very young age, have a very privileged life from living on farms and get to do wherever I want when I want and stuff. And now the fact that like I've been to, I don't know, so many countries.
Your passport would be wild.
Passport is fucking looks real nice, fully stamped up. I got to see a lot of places, and as much as that I scare her every time I go to Europe or I go on these adventures, or these crashes, which I apologise for, but I said like
that's one of the things I was gonna ask actually. Like, do you have like, do you feel bad for what you put her through every time? Does that one of the besides the pain, is that one of the things that sucks the most?
That's the worst thing. Between I have a very close relationship with my sister and my mum, and that's the one thing that is the handbrake in the sport that I do. It's like it is, you know, like if anything were to go.
What the fuck is that?
What the fuck is that? Go on, have a look.
One sec. Something. All right. Yes, like I said, obviously, the handbrake on your sport is having to put your mother through situations like this.
For sure. The repercussions of my sport are major. And she's extremely supportive of my decisions and what I'm doing, knowing the fact that I'm out enjoying life and living life. And I feel like already I've probably lived 2 lives worth of adventures and stuff of the places I've been, the people I've seen, the way I've got to see other people live when I go to Malaysia and all these different places to go jumping. But on that hindsight is like, if anything goes majorly wrong, it's not me that has to deal with it. It's going to be the repercussions of my family and my sister and my mum. So that's definitely the hardest part and stuff. And I had a good crash as well, probably, I don't know, maybe like 8 years ago, and that sort of stressed her out, and then went through this one again. She and my sister surprised me. They flew up to Darwin because they were like, oh, do you want us to come up there and support and stuff? And so I was like, no, it's all good. I've got my surgery. I get my ankle done in a couple of days. I've got so much of my crew up here because we're at that event, and all the Darwin crew, every day I had people supporting me. I said, no, I'm all good. It's all sweet. And then when it got delayed a couple of times, Mum and my sister come up and surprised me to come up there and just stay with me for a day or two just to see how it was going. And I could see that my mum and my sister were both obviously pretty rattled about it when they came in. But once they seen that I was doing so well in there and my spirits were high and everyone was there supporting me and stuff, it made it a lot easier for them. So I'm glad that they did come up. More so for the fact it seemed like they had a little bit of, weight lifted off their shoulders once they see me, that I was doing okay, that it wasn't super major, wasn't struggling up there or whatever. And they stayed for 2 days and they found themselves a lot more comfortable. But Mum kind of joked the other day when I seen her as well. She's like, don't you fucking be doing that again to me, sort of thing. So definitely stresses her out. But
the good thing about, not the good thing, but the good thing about this particular accident from my point of view is it's something that you can definitely not do again.
Yeah.
This is very easily avoided.
Yeah, for sure.
It's definitely a massive learning curve.
Absolutely.
And not even a learning curve, it's just okay, I know what happens when I do that now.
Yeah, for sure. And it was when I said that cheese holes before as well, it was because the fact that when I went up there...
Can you explain what that is, please?
Okay, so cheese holes means Swiss cheese, how it's got holes in the cheese. You could line up, maybe a couple of slices of that Swiss cheese together, and because it's got all that holes all line up, you might have a massive hole through that whole slice, and that's where you could, a small issue here, small issue there, but once they're all stacked up together on the same jump. So on that one, it was... definitely distracted during the free fall. It was me rushing, trying to change our process, where me going first instead of second. Me not having my turn completely dialed in because Darwin weather's very different to at home. It was midday where that wind was swinging from into wind, crosswind, downwind. So there was that. What else, So there's just things off the top of my head. So those things all just lined up to create that issue, if I was, if one of those things might not have happened, the rest of the things might not have, ended up being as bad as it was. So that's where that things can happen where, if you're fatigued, you're tired or whatever. And I was also kind of a couple of days into the boogie. Well, the first day I didn't do any jumps because we had first night fever, hanging out with everyone. And Rail Week's a 8-day event, 7 days jumping with like a rest day in between. And everyone's like, takes it nice and chill at the start because like you got so much more days ahead of you. You can't just charge the whole entire time because you'll burn yourself out because the weather's so hot up there as well. You know?
Humid as fuck.
The first few days I was there, I had my outfit that I would jump in, and then I just changed into shorts and a different t-shirt to pack my parachute because I was literally dripping as I was packing my parachute because it was so hot. And then when I go jump, I change back into my other clothes that I could go free falling in, so everything just wasn't wet and gross all the time, which also changes like the density of the air as well, you know. So like as it's colder, there's more particles to fill that parachute. So there was just a lot of things out there that were different. And because I was a couple days in and missed the first day, I was like, oh, I've still got another smaller, more high performance parachute that I had with me, which I was going to put on that day I had my crash. I was going to put on a faster, smaller parachute. I brought up my wingsuit. So I was going to do another day or two of wingsuiting, but to wingsuit requires a whole different another container and parachute. So I bought a second system for that. Afterwards, we were going to go to secret location and go do some base jumping after well. So I had my base rig and that. So I had 4 parachutes, 2 rigs, wingsuit, had all this stuff with me. So I was like, I've got so much that I want to achieve while I'm up here. I need to start pushing and doing some more jumps because the first few days just took it nice and casual, just easing my way into it. And that day it was like, all right, cool. Today's the day I'm going to charge. I'm going to do a heap of jumps, heap of different disciplines. I'm really going to start kicking it in to another gear. And this is another one of the cheese holes is I actually went to bed reasonably early and didn't party and got up before first load, which on a boogie is a big no-no.
You fucked your routine.
Yeah, it's a big no-no. You know, you usually get up, you have your coffee, you watch the people land and stuff. So I was on first load, third load, and then on like fifth load, which was kind of almost like midday when that winds are changing, when this happened. So I was charging, you know, so all of those reasons that I've just said, all just managed just to line up on that jump. And unfortunately, it wasn't like one major thing that I did massively wrong.
Multiple
and I was like, that's the reason why I crashed. It was just a lot of small things
leading up
to it. Each had that hole and then created that system.
Well, thankfully for your mother and your sister, nothing crazy happened and you're still here.
Yeah.
And they're like, so obviously they know that you are not going to stop doing this.
No,
they're okay with it?
They're okay. Like, obviously, like, well, they have to be. But we had a conversation literally at hospital there because I was in there for like a week and a bit. We managed to go downstairs just to get a coffee. And we had a good chat about the fact that didn't have, like work cover insurance in place, you know. Like I didn't have that. That was a mistake from me. Thank God Darwin government cover every care flight in Darwin as part of their process out there. They cover it as well because I didn't have like the equivalent to the Darwin ambulance cover as well going up there. And while I was in hospital, once I kind of come through, I was doing some research and I started to stress out a little bit because it says on the website it can be anywhere from $25,000 to $45,000 for a care flight. So I'm like, not only am I going to get out of this, not be able to work for potentially 6 months, like if I left there with a 30-40 grand helicopter bill as well, like
you'd have been fucked.
I just would have been stressed while I was home. I'm like, how am I going to deal with this? You know, I was like, I've got some toys where I was like, fuck, I would have to maybe sell one of my Harleys, maybe I could sell my Skyline, maybe I could do that to get through. So that conversation said like, if you are going to continue in this sport, there should be some things in place that you need to do, you know, because if this accident was worse, where you were not able to work again or full-time needed care or whatever, it would be like, where is that going to lie? Does that mean mum sells her house to help pay for my cover? That's not fair on her. That's not fair on my family. So that was a bit of a wake up for sure. So all those things were going to be in place a little bit better when I continue. But where I was getting was my sister was like, if you're going to go continue with this, and I was like, ladies, like, let's just stop the conversation there for a second. It's not if, it's when. I will be going back. I am going back to base jumping next year. I am going to continue with this life that I've got. This is not a handbrake. So just be prepared that your stressing on me is not quite over. But they're both super supportive and they see what it is.
Have you ever been to like the Caucasus Mountains and shit, like Azerbaijan and stuff?
I don't know what words you just said.
You're like Azerbaijan. It's a country. It's in like, it's in between Russia and the Middle East, and it's really, really fucking mountainous, and a lot of like really good fighters come out of there.
Yeah, right.
Where is it? I'll find it.
Take them to Dagestan.
Yeah, it's the Dagestan's in the Caucasus.
Yeah,
region.
okay. I've been to St. Petersburg. I've been to Russia. And that was pretty wild because I went over there quite a lot of time when I was just starting the jumping career. We only had like one wind tunnel in Australia and it was very expensive. So if you're going to do anything more than a couple of hours, you could literally go to anywhere else in the world. So that's taken me to places like Poland and Russia to go fly tunnel, which is a place you would never really go traveling to if I didn't have that reason. So I'm glad that I had that skydiving reason to go to Russia, St. Petersburg, because it was fucking dope.
I'd be shocked if there wasn't fucking like skydiving and base jumping here. It's just so mountainous, the whole country. I'm not sure though. I'm gonna fucking kill my neighbour.
You wheel me out there, I'll fuck him up.
But yeah, I'd be shocked if there wasn't fucking base jumping or something there. I don't know how easy it is to get there though.
Yeah, like maybe there's been some jumps there, but it's probably just like...
Is a lot of like base jumping and stuff illegal?
Depends where you are. So like Switzerland and Norway, no, it's encouraged. They're mountainous towns and stuff, and they accept paragliding, speed flying, base jumping, wingsuiting, all of that things, and like because that's mountainous area where they've just grown up with that forever. It's encouraged, and it's crazy, man. Like this valley in Switzerland, which I hope people obey the fucking rules, base jumpers listening, because when you get to any of the exit points, there's literally like a helicopter airport at the base of the valley, which does all the scenic flights for all the Eiger and all these places, and they take produce up to all the mountains to supply all the restaurants and that sort of stuff. And it's a live airport, and they let us jump into the live airport valley and wingsuit and fly in there.
No shit.
So before you do any of the jumps in this valley, you've got a phone number that you'll call up, and you'll be like, hey, going guys, I've got 3 trackers from High Nose. We're ready to exit. And they'll be like, cool, no helicopters leaving, no helicopters in the area. You guys are good to jump. Or they'll be, we have a helicopter about to leave. We have a helicopter approaching. Either call us back in 2 minutes, or they say like once the helicopter flies past you, you have clear and you have a fantastic jump. So you literally call the airport, and get clearance to jump. And there's some jumps where you're not allowed to jump at certain times, and there's sometimes people have
planes and shit.
Just those helicopters coming up and down the valley. Sometimes people have jumped without calling and had near misses with helicopters, and that helicopter pilot's just doing his job. And if he fucking hits a base jumper and that goes in, that will be the end of that jumping in that valley, because they'll be like, we're doing you a favour by letting you all be here, but if you don't follow the rules, it's easy gone. One day, this is no word of a lie, we're sitting on an exit point, we're waiting, call up, she's like, yep, we've got a helicopter doing transportation. She kind of like stops for a little bit. She's like, once the helicopter goes past, you're clear to jump. You'll know when you see it. And I was like, oh, cool. I didn't really take too much out of it. And then like 2 minutes later, helicopter flies past, and from a big massive cable, there was a bull strapped into a harness, and they're flying a bull literally down the middle of a bull, like a big cow, a bull.
Yeah.
Flying it down the middle of the valley with this like 100-meter fucking, wire with a bull and a harness. And that's how they like fly the bull around to a new like paddock, drop it off. He gets to go smash for a couple of weeks and stuff, and that's how they just go and move it, because they can't get that bull anywhere.
Hilarious.
And I watched it just go past, and we were just at the exit point just pissing ourselves laughing. I was like, that is a sight not many people would ever get to see anything like that unless you were in like the in the base jumping world, in the mountains, just involved in that. And I remember seeing that, I was like, oh, that's something I'm not going to forget.
Do you have is this the longest that you won't be skydiving since what did you break last time? Your coccyx? Was it your
L1 T12, my vertebrae,
yeah,
in my back?
Yeah. That would have been a long recovery?
It was not too bad, because I didn't have surgery. It wasn't like major trauma. It was the vertebrae have a little like sort of wings off the back of it. So I had like L1 and T12, the back of the vertebrae wings just kind of like compression fractured just on the inside. did a little bit of damage to the discs in between, but
Yeah.
there was no problem on the cord. There's no problem on whatever. So it was pretty much, I was major crash and discharged that night. I was bedridden for maybe 5 weeks sort of thing. And then I was like kind of at the stages where I am now after 5 weeks. I was able to move around the house, go around, and then maybe like 8 weeks walking on the beach. After 12 weeks, I was pretty good. Just lots of physio, massage and dry needling. I remember 12 weeks later, I was jumping. Had a pretty hard opening, that first jump back, and just felt my whole spine go, just like all just decompressed and everything. And I landed, I was like, that was stupid. Like I don't need to be doing this, you know, that was too early. So that was at, I think I was at maybe 9 or 12. And then 3 weeks later, I would start jumping back normal.
Yeah.
So that was a long time. I was thinking the other day, having a conversation with someone, like, this is the longest time. And it's like, and even COVID, like we didn't really have much of a thing here in Adelaide, you know, like it was like, I think I had like a week or two off of work.
COVID was chill in Adelaide.
It was chill as. I remember I was thinking the other day, I was like, don't remember having a massive time off because we have a very small club drop zone. There's only a couple of people there. There's only a few people allowed in the plane. So I think once Adelaide was pretty chill, I think I was jumping again in weeks later, I think, really. So
when you have like a stint like this and you go back into it, do you have to take precautions to ease back into it because it's just safer, or do you just go, okay, I remember? Is it one of those things where like you just know how to ride the bike straight away?
Yeah.
Or do you have to take those extra steps to kind of rebuild the trust in yourself?
No, not the trust. It's pretty much like riding a bike straight back into it. I won't go into like a lot of
anything gnarly,
just high skill jumps with other people for a while because I just had a long time off. The thing in the sport of skydiving is every jump you do from like 12 or 15,000 feet, especially the kind of style I like to do is like free fly. So head up or head down, you're presenting a lot less surface area to the wind. So the jumps are just incredibly fast. So my jumps that I do pretty much go for about 30 seconds. It's as long as we can get out of a skydive because we're going super fast. So even on a good weekend that we're training or having a good weekend, say we might do like 10 jumps. So we're literally practicing a couple of minutes of my sport on a good weekend. And sometimes it might take a month to do 10 jumps, right? So it takes a long time to get good at your skills. And uncurrency is a very major thing where if you're uncurrent, where haven't been jumping for a long time, it might take you 10, 20 jumps to get back to where you were in the sky. So I will take it easy for X amount of time till I'm comfortably and I've got all my skills and I'm sharp and I'm back before I'll start doing some gnarlier jumps. But pretty much just be going back to riding a bike. I won't go do tandems until I've done probably a month or two of solo jumping where I know that everything's absolutely 100% locked in and kosher before I'll take anyone again and know my body's strong. One thing I might change is because I've got a real small parachute, I might upsize. So I might start just flying a bigger parachute, which will means it's a little bit more docile, a little bit more slower landings. Like I won't need to, you see how much landing area I need on mine to land. I'll take that easy for a while. Maybe like put on something a little bit bigger for a while before I go back to my parachute. Yeah, so easy in, but pretty much ride a bike.
Have you seen that video? It was a while ago. It was about the time that I went skydiving, I think. The video of Steve-O getting his solo, like being able to do it solo in a fucking week or something.
Yeah.
But skydiving to me could be one of those sports where the more money you have behind you, the quicker you're going to learn. Because it is a very cost. I imagine when you fucking started when you're a kid, it's not a cheap fucking sport to enter.
No, for sure.
But like because obviously he has like inexpendable income,
Yeah.
he learned how to fucking like dive by himself within like a day.
Yeah.
Because he just did like 100 fucking jumps.
Yeah, so the AFF course that I teach as well, which stands for Accelerated Freefall, goes from, it's a 9 jump program to get what we call the A-class license. And it's not uncommon if we get a good student and good weather that they can bang that out in 2 days. That's not uncommon. Where the difference was where those Steve-O jumps is like he was just going up in that caravan with him and his mates where, you know, that plane takes 18 people, you know, and everyone paying $60, $70 a slot to get that plane in the air, where he would have been like, oh, just me and my instructors and my cameraman would just take that. So that's where that, and like, they're not going to be like, oh, you can just wait because someone else needs to go, they were like,
Bang, bang,
you're
bang.
in the plane, like you've got it for the day, because that's, you know, it's good publicity for the DZ, for them, for everyone and stuff. So if you've got that time and stuff, and like I said, a lot of drop zones are open every single day, you know, like, but just not in Adelaide because we have a small population, and we have a couple of different businesses that are operating, you know. So we've got Skydiving the Vines, which is Tandem.
The one at Semaphore.
Semaphore, which is Tandem only. And then we've really got, for the training organisations, is Langhorne Creek, SA Skydiving.
You work there as well, eh?
Yeah, that's where I started. And then Lower Light as well is a training organisation. So we've just got so many people with their finger in the pie. We've just not enough customers and money in the state, so we just can't get one of those big planes. So we've got small planes that only hold 6 people, 4 people, and take half an hour to get to the top. We're in a caravan, you can have 18 people in the plane, and you can be exiting in 10 minutes. From runway to free fall can be 10 minutes.
And over a full day, that's like an extra 20 jumps.
Yeah. Could be a lot, you know. And that extra height, you know, like, you know, the difference between us jumping at 12 and jumping at 15, 3,000 feet on extra jumps. Say if I got 100 jumps out of a small plane that goes to 12, or I got 100 jumps over a plane that goes to 15, it's probably an extra 20 jumps worth of free fall time in that different plane. So obviously all those planes overseas, and that's why everyone gets so good overseas, because they have those big planes, they've got access, they've got height, they've got better coaches, they've got wind tunnels, they've just got everything that little of flat Australia just doesn't have heaps of, you know. Like even in Adelaide, like we don't have a wind tunnel. So all of the skills that we learn here are mainly like learnt in the sky.
That's crazy that we don't have a wind tunnel, even just for recreational, like fun purposes.
Yeah.
Like for people, like they go to fucking bounce around.
Yeah.
I imagine it's a very big cost to set up.
And again, it's just not enough people, the same as I said, to keep that financially viable. I remember a couple of years ago, there was plans for that big shopping centre. Don't know why, but they talked about putting a new ice hockey rink in as well. They had all the plans out for that, and that kind of fell on its head. They were talking about bringing an iFly wingsuit sort of skydiving tunnel here as well, and that kind of fell on its head, I think purely just because they're like, there's not enough people, and there's not enough rich people with disposable incomes where they can go and spend.
How much do they cost to hire? Is it? I imagine it's like an hour session.
No, it's like, kind of would be like as if you were going to do a tandem-ish. You go in maybe for like with like 4 other people, and then one person will go in for like 2 minutes, and then out, and the next one will get for 2 minutes, and the next one gets 2 minutes, and you might only get like 4 shots each.
So it's not cost effective.
It's fun for a ride, right?
Yeah.
It's fun for, and it'd be awesome for people just to have a go
without the fear of like the jump.
Yeah, well, some people would never skydive after it, or never had any intentions with, but which would want to just go have a bit of a fly and just learn human flight, which is awesome. But when what they call a skydiver, or anyone who jumps, we call pro flyers. So when you're a pro flyer, when you go and book some time, you book an hour. Yeah, so the day you'll do an hour, so you'll probably do maybe 3 or 4 sessions throughout the day. In the morning, you go in and do 2 minutes in, 2 minutes out, and you might do 15 minutes, and then a couple of hours later, you go in 2 minutes out, do 15 minutes, and then the Arvo, you might do 2 sessions. So over the day, you might get an hour's worth of flying. And what's that equivalent to, you know, like say if like our jumps don't go for 60 seconds, they go for like 30. So if you do an hour's worth of flying, that's like you've just done a couple of months worth of skydiving.
Are they accurate to skydiving?
It's similar. It's definitely very similar. And they can change how much wind goes in. So they can turn it down, which is a little bit safer and harder to fly, which is not quite like skydiving, but that's when you really hone your skills because you can do it in like a harder environment. It's definitely very close. It's definitely very close.
It's close enough to use it as a tool to learn.
100%. The only difference is once you go, say, do an hour in the tunnel, you might need to go spend 20 skydives to translate it into our world.
It's also like, I imagine it's similar-ish to like preparing for an MMA fight and actually doing the fight.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Because you got the extra element of danger, and there's a lot more on the line.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
And I was going to ask you this, like much similar to MMA, I'm not sure if this is correct, but I've got to ask you. So in MMA now, back in the day, they used to be specialists, like they would come from a boxing lineage, a jiu-jitsu background, but now kids are doing pure MMA.
Yeah.
Is there people entering your sector of sports that are skipping skydiving and going straight to base jumping, or going straight to like the more extreme styles and just skipping the kind of skydiving route, like the traditional route, or do you have to have that as a base before you delve into base jumping?
There's a lot of people now that I see that are entering skydiving.
Purely too.
No, because they have grown up wind tunnel flying. So there's a lot of people, especially sort of Goldie, Melbourne, that have got probably parents that have got a bit of money, and that's their chosen sport is to be tunnel flying instead of, going to play soccer or whatever. So there's a couple of up and coming youths or 18s or young skydivers who are just starting skydiving now who probably have hundreds of hours in the tunnel. So their free fall skills are incredible, and they'll punch out that AF in like half a day because their skills are so good, but they don't know how to fly parachutes, they don't know how to stay alive, they don't need to do that. So that holds them back a lot. But there's like, I don't know, one girl up at Darwin, Asia, she's a good tunnel flyer, and she was fucking rocking it in the sky and only had like a very small amount of skydives. So that happens where people get into the skydiving sport, extremely good at the free fall things, and they need to learn all the rest, learn how to pack, learn how to stay alive, learn how to make good decision making.
Packing's probably one of the most important things, eh?
When you're starting, because it's so scary and so, not what you're used to, but it's a very simple process once you've got it down. Like, I do a sports pack in probably like, I don't know, eight minutes.
But you're not allowed to do your reserve.
Not allowed to do the reserve.
You have to have. See, I remember some things on the pod.
Yeah.
You have to have a certain license to do the reserve pack.
Yeah. So you need to be a packer.
That takes that's done with much more attention to detail.
For sure.
Because
Absolutely.
I imagine at this point you're just fucking with your own chute. You just know what to do.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's packs and you can take your time and stuff, and then there's also like we call it a smash pack where it's just like you might land and you're like, all the boys are like, we're on next load. You want to go? And you're like, yeah, fucking no. Just stuff it in. But like these parachutes are designed to open. Like I explain this to students sometimes. Is like, what do you reckon would happen if you're doing 180 k's in your car and you fucking throw a sleeping bag out the window?
It's gonna open up.
It's gonna fucking fill with air. Sometimes when you get these real nice, neat packs, sometimes it's a little bit more comfy on the body and it makes a little bit things. But those things are gonna open. It's pretty much like, unless you follow the process, unless you make an actual total packing error where you do something that you're not supposed to.
Next pod you come in, you're going to pack one live for me.
All right, sure.
Next pod.
Yeah, easy.
Next pod we'll do a tutorial, and then
cool.
I'll pack one.
Yeah, that's it. And then I'll jump it. I'll jump yours. Yeah. All right,
No, don't do that.
No.
Bro, I'll have a fucking heart attack if you do that. I'll be like,
No, I'll tell you. I'm like, no, I'll repack it when I get home, and then I'll call you from the plane. I was like,
yeah, he's not going to make the next pod.
yeah. This is all on you.
I've fucking broken the seal. This is the most beers I've had in fucking a while, and I'm fucking going to piss my pants.
Fucking Daddy Sav. First beers after.
We'll go into Daddy Sav soon.
Oh.
We cut it off. All right, so Daddy Sav. Daddy Sav is a thing
Daddy
now.
Savvy boy, yeah.
Daddy,
fucking oath.
Daddy the sesh with Sav. It's a thing.
Yeah. How you feeling? You look good.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
I didn't have to do much work, but I will say, fuck that. Like whoever, like I don't know if guys, I don't know if I'm just different or if other guys are lying by saying, oh, it is like a beautiful experience in like the thought of once the baby's here, because I'm like pretty emotionally void as a person. I was like, I felt like this like warmth that I don't usually feel. I was like, oh fuck, but I didn't know what to do with it all.
Well, there's not much you can do, really.
It's very overwhelming.
I
It's
bet.
like so and I was like, my missus smashed it. No drugs, no anything. Like 3 hours it took her at like the most textbook perfect birth of all time. And it's because she prepared for it well.
Yeah.
The dude is literally there as an accessory.
Yeah.
Like I was like feeding her ice chips in her mouth because
Yeah.
she wanted ice. And I was like on the gas. I had the gas hooked up to my face, and the nurses by the end of it were looking at me, and I was like, I need this more than her.
Yeah.
I'm not coping well right now. I'm fucking dying.
Because you're just standing there with nothing to do, really.
It's more like if it was me there, I'd be fine. But it's like, when you're watching your mates or like your missus, if you have one in pain, you just can do. It's like how your friends would have felt with your crash. It's like, of course, it's terrible for you, but it's worse for them.
Yeah, for
because
sure.
they're just fucking like, what's happened? Is he gonna fucking die? What can we do? We can't help him.
Yeah.
We don't have fucking drugs. His leg's hanging off. Like it sucks for you, obviously, as a person that's copping it. Like it would have sucked for my missus. But as a bystander, you're like, of someone who really cares about someone,
Yeah.
you're like, oh fuck, like this is the worst.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like, she would be distracted going through the process. With
She
the
didn't
same-
even know I was there.
Yeah. Cool.
Like because she was so locked in.
Yeah.
Like she had her eyes closed, locked in. But yeah, as a bystander, it's cool after, like
Yeah.
when you can take them home and stuff.
For
But
sure.
Have you been a part of situations with skydiving and shit where you've been a bystander of something really horrific?
I haven't. No, I haven't.
Lucky.
I've managed to avoid it every single time. You know, there has been major crashes before in skydiving in South Australia before, for sure. And I've never been there on the day. I've seen some broken legs and broken ankles here and there, but they're all pretty kosher. Nothing too wild. I've been in Europe where I have had a sick time hanging out with someone new, and we've had some drinks at the bar, and we've hung out or done some jumps on the same, what we call the same load, so the same jump when they were there, and then found out that the next day that they didn't make it back to the bar. So that's about as far as I've ever had to deal with it, where especially lately over the last couple of months, it's very unfortunate, but there's been a couple of Australian fatalities happen over the last few months
With base jumping
with
specifically?
base jumping specifically, and that's super traumatic for a lot of my fucking close friends that were there and were very close to those people that had happened and stuff. So I've mentioned before, we have what's called the BFL, the base fatality list. And when someone goes in, which goes in means they have,
Passed away.
Yeah, gone all the way in. It gets put up on this base fatality list online that only us base jumpers has access to, but it talks about the weather, the conditions, what jump they did.
It's like a database for what went wrong.
Database, yeah, what suit they were flying, how many jumps they got, their experience. So we can try and learn from other people's mistakes, because you can't make all the mistakes yourself in this sport. You can't make any, so you need to learn from other people's. And it just sucks when, especially because the Australian base jumping scene's so small compared to Europe and everywhere else, when it goes off with someone from here, it fucking hits hard, dude. It hits through hard.
How many of you do you think there is? If you had to guess, like just a rough estimate.
Aussies, I would think there's, I don't know, fucking hell. I would think they would probably,
above or below 50.
I reckon there'd be at least 100.
That's still tiny.
I reckon
That's
there'd
a
be
tiny
100 like
population.
active jumpers who charging, and there's probably maybe another 50, another 100 who dabble.
Would you recommend it to people?
Base or skydiving? I reckon.
Base. Would you recommend base and wingsuiting to people, or is that something that they need to make their own? You should never like persuade them into.
No, like if they're not jumpers at all, I'm like, fuck, this is the best thing ever. Like listen, look, I could persuade people into the journey of potentially starting, because it's given me absolutely everything. I would never like say to someone at the DZ, oh, you're a good jumper, like, have you thought about base? I never bring that up. But once you've been in the skydiving scene or see us having the best time in the fucking world in the mountains, it's always the other way around, where the younger jumpers will probably come and approach you. What's the process to base? Ask some questions about it, and then still I won't direct them into doing it unless they have like made the decision that they want to, and then they start asking questions about how do I get there. And once they do that, I go, here's the X amount of jumps you need to perform first. And if something that you want to do is base jumping, here's the direction you should probably go. Spend more time on parachute flying to get really good at it, because that's a very crucial part of base, is landing in tight, small little areas. And then angle flying and tracking your body, and then into wingsuiting. Go that route if that's what you're interested in, because you can shorten that process up if that's what you're dedicated in just doing. But most people, I'm like, enjoy skydiving. You know, there's like, you know,
It's fun enough.
it's so good, dude.
Fun
It's
enough.
so good, dude. I did like over 1,000 jumps. I don't know how many years that took me. I had over 1,000 jumps before I started base, and like all I wanted to do was be a fantastic skydiver.
I can see now that I've been skydiving, and obviously the funnest part is the free fall. That is the funnest part.
Oh, for sure.
When we first did the podcast, I was like, okay, I don't understand the want to wingsuit. I just didn't. In my head, I'm like, okay, it's gnarly as fuck, but I just don't understand. I'm like, how can something get more gnarly? And the gnarliest thing about skydiving is the free fall.
Yeah.
So I imagine wingsuiting is just extending that adrenaline rush, and it makes it more. You have to be way more dialed in.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's just a higher level.
There's so many different disciplines that you go through, you know, like my jam is like free flying, which is head up, head down, or movement or angles, which is everything in between. And that's literally flying your body, you know, the wind on the back of your hands and necks and moving around. So that was my jam forever. And it took me so long to translate into the wingsuiting because I was like, fly your body and then fly a suit. And I didn't realize until I'd start flying these wingsuits, I was like, that's a whole different ball game because now you're flying this suit and not your body. So it's a different situation. And it's very difficult, but it's also so enjoyable because it's like human flight, you know? Like
You're fucking a bird.
You're strapped into this rocket ship, dude.
What's the speed you're achieving
It also depends on pitch and angle.
in
and,
your suit? What speeds can you like theoretically achieve in your suit?
Well, the aim of the game with a wingsuit is to stay up a long time in skydiving and then do like transitions belly to back, or you might go through like a corkscrew and wind it up. So if you're flat, you know, you're probably going, you know, maybe 120.
Oh, so not like a free fall.
Yeah, if you're flat, you know, you're only in the hundreds. If you're going slow, and then obviously the steeper you go, the speed increases, you know, the more. So when you're in a wingsuit, you've got so much surface area, so you go slow. But if you go steep, less surface, faster. If you go head down, super faster.
What's the best what's the best wingsuit of all time? Is there a thing like that? Like is there a best I guess it would be like the gnarliest, or like who pushes the limits the most in your sport?
Oh, the suit or the pilot?
The person.
Man, like there's a lot of different disciplines and different styles. Like,
Who does shit that you would never attempt?
fucking most of them.
Anyone signed to Red Bull?
Yeah, most of them, yeah, because they just get all the scenes and stuff. I don't know, it's a real hard one. There's a lot of really good, like, Australian wingsuiters. They just had what they call the World Wingsuit League, which was in China, just went down lately. Mm-hmm. And they have a platform, they are base jumping, and they have a few different disciplines where they'll get off and they'll try and go as fast as you can through these gates. So they'll get judged on speed, how much speed they can generate. Another one's called like accuracy, where they'll literally have a big target strung up between some strings, and they have a big unicorn horn on the top of their head, and it's a dartboard, and they play human darts through it. So that's one of the things you can go through. I can't answer who's the best because there's so many people who've got different skills and different disciplines and fly different lines.
Just on pure like kind of gnarliness. Like who's one of your let's not say the best, who's one of the people that you would go to and be like, fuck, that's a mad cunt.
Fuck, yeah, heaps. There's a dude, Tomic, who's Australian born, but he flies in the wingsuit tunnel. So there's a tunnel overseas as well where he's like the vertical tunnels where he's a coach there, and he's just done stuff that I just like blows my absolute mind in the skydiving and base jumping scene because he's so technical on it all. We've got a dude called Tahi as well, so he's Kiwi Aussie and stuff, and he's pushing the limits and he's breaking some serious records all around the world for
He's Aussie?
For skills, yeah.
What was his name?
Tahi.
Tahi.
But there's people in the base environment who are doing absolutely fucking gnarly shit and gnarly lines, but also they might have a small window of that because they're pushing so hard, where there could be other guys who are more probably technically more talented who are just holding themselves back a little bit and doing everything perfect, but they'll have longevity where they'll be in sport for a long time.
A base jumper's the Cowboys of like the whole skydive universe. They're the wild ones.
Yeah. Well, in skydiving, we have like the APF here in Australia, Australian Parachute Federation. There's rules, there's regulations and stuff that we got to follow. But base jumping, there's no rules. It is the fucking wild, wild west. You can do what you want, when you want, how you want. And there's actually no rules against it. There's a lot of people who would advise you against a lot of it. There's a system set in place that if you follow this, you can potentially stay alive and have a nice long career. But there are also people who are pushing the limits in absolutely every sport. You know, there's dudes, you know, that are fucking monoing their Harleys down highways, or, you know, when you see those footages on Insta of these dudes just like gapping cars at 300 k's along.
Have you seen that license kid?
No, I don't think so.
He's 14, 15. He's like the biggest car. You know how it's like a trend now to split lanes and shit in cars?
Yeah.
He's like 15. He wears a ballet. No one knows who he looks like.
Yeah, sick.
People lend him Lamborghinis and shit.
Oh, to let him go and do it in their cars.
Because he's the best. They call it surfing.
Yeah, okay.
Where they're just in LA traffic and he's like, I'll put it on later for you because I know you're a car. I always forget that at your heart you're a motorhead.
Yeah.
This cunt, bro. I'm not a rev head. There's nothing scarier to me than being in a car with someone that is confident behind the wheel.
Oh, for sure.
Because to me, I'm not by no means a rev head.
Yeah.
I do not care to go 220 k's in a car. It just doesn't tickle me.
Yeah.
When you get into the car with someone who's hell confident, it's the scariest fucking thing of all time.
And I totally get it, man, because I can understand where I'm so confident in doing these tandem jumps and I'm so blasé, whatever, because I've done it so many times, what that feels like. But, you know, a couple of years ago, my mate, Reese Morris, he's got a Cephei, and he's a fucking fantastic driver. And we would go like sliding in, taking to drifting, and I'm like double seatbelt, fucking sissy bar, like holy fucking shit. And he's just laughing, throwing it all around. And then but he would never come for a tandem with me for years and years and years.
It lends itself to everything. Like I'm terrified fucking jumping, but to you it's just waking up in the morning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But there's something about cars.
Yeah.
I think it's because of the risk of pedestrians, because he does it, this licensed kid does it with fucking millions of cars on the road.
Yeah. And that's the joy and the thrill of it, you know,
But there's like, he's evading cops and like, he's got famous streamers with him, like streaming it all.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is fucking 15, 16 years old. So how do some people are just
got that gear,
I feel like it's also, you have to have like a real belief in yourself.
Yeah.
Because he's like, you're safer in this. It's like there's a famous video of Tony Hawk on a half pipe with his very young child at the time. And a lot of people, I remember it was years ago, maybe a decade or two ago, there was a big uprising like, why would you put your child in that danger? And he's like, mate, the child's safer on this board than he is in your car.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
I do this shit.
Yeah. I say that all the time about people are freaking out. I said, you've already done the hard part. You've already driven to the drop zone. Like, there's like, you know, like you've got more chance of someone T-boning you on the way than anything happening out here.
That's all I was telling myself when I was driving. I was like, if I get there, it's half the battle.
Yeah, absolutely. But like some people that's why it was hard to answer that question is because some people were like legit jump and go, this could be the last one, you know, but it attracts that sort of people sometimes in the sport because people didn't have that direction and found this, you know. There's a lot of people that would like even openly say in the past that are on that list now, like, you better come and hang out or jump with me soon because they just know that they're pushing that limit.
They're trying to find the limit.
They're just pushing that limit and they know like part of being the best in this sport and like pushing limits and making videos of people just like jaw dropped like how the fuck is that even possible? The other side of that is one mistake and you're dead. And there's been people say that like, you know, like we better come and hang out soon, you know, because they know they're pushing the limits and then fucking next week they're gone. Well, that's the difference. It's why it's hard to answer that question is like, who's the best like this week? Who's the best who's going to be like longevity and like stay around for a long time, you know? That's why I thought that was a hard question. Do I think that people who are the best but end up dying are they the best? Because that's not the fucking plan for this game. The plan for this game is jump in while you're young, fit and healthy. Enjoy the whole process. Slowly build up your skills. Try and stay as safe as physically possible, staying within your margins. And then getting out of the sport at the end, people call winning the game. You've got you've got to enjoy the whole things. Maybe not scratch free.
Maybe with broken femur bone or two.
Maybe a couple of cool scars and shit at the end, but like getting to the end, enjoying that and stuff, and you can still jump into your later years, but then you just start being smart about it. You don't push the limits, you know.
Do it for fun.
Do it for fun and things. And this is the one thing where I was just like, I haven't quite been able to tap in the base environment yet to be able to like confidently start pushing my limits all the time, because we're Aussies and we only go there for a couple of months each year. By the time you go back there, get current, ready to go, slowly start pushing a little bit, you know, Euro season's over. If you're going to be the sort of person that wants to push yourself, wants to be in the game, you want to be somewhere, you know, you need to live there, you need to embrace it, you need to be fully in, same as like jiu-jitsu or whatever, you know, like you need to be fully in the game to be that sort of person.
As soon as you got one foot out, it's dangerous.
Yeah, and I love fucking Adelaide, and I love home, and I love my family here, and I love what I've got here. I love jumping on the weekends. I love staying busy and just like, you know, riding bikes, cars. I like to dabble in a lot of things and shit. So every time I go over there, I get back to where I was the last season, and I might do 1 or 2 jumps that I haven't done yet. I might push just that little bit as well, but obviously staying in that, you know, that comfort zone. Because it'd be like, life's too fucking good to fucking end it over a jump, you know. As much as that is so much fun and stuff, and pushing those limits is fucking like the most alive I've ever felt. It's also not worth fucking ending the rest of it for, because there's so many other cool things that you can be around to get to experience forever. I think about all those people that have actually pushed so hard, because that felt like all that was for them is to like push so hard. And now like all the suits are 10 times better. All the jumps they're doing is 10 times better. The technology's better. Like it's like people are getting recognized for their sports and stuff. And some of the best like never got to experience any of that because they just thought they needed to push like super hard.
Well, I think that was a beautiful speech. And I think that is a good one to leave it on, because I believe me and you have 6 drinks to drink off camera together. Sweet. But I'm so happy that you are alive. And I fucking love you. I love you as a person. You're one of the favourite people. You're one of the coolest people I've met on this journey. Sweet. And I look forward to doing the next one. Hopefully injury-free.
Absolutely, brother. Cheers, man.